Hello and welcome. This is Law Firm Marketing. This is the show and tell. It's Thursday. It's 5 o'clock. It's also the 1st of April. So it must be the all Falls special. As you're noticing, Rich isn't with us at the moment. If you've joined just to see his face, he shall be joining later. Don't worry. In the meantime, well, you have to put up with the rest of us. A quick introduction. We have our King Jester, as usual, Simon, up there in the corner. We have the wonderful Charlotte, and we also have our special guest, so I'm going to be very polite, Cat Collier from Flair Insight. Would you like to give yourselves a little bit of a wider introduction? Charlotte, would you like to go first this time?
Yeah, let's do that. My name is Charlotte Takat, and I am the CMO of Novum Learning, which is an online learning platform for professionals. And one of our main focuses within the platform is the legal sector. So we bring together expert knowledge from all around the world to help legal professionals and anyone in the business of law run their practice more efficiently.
Thank you very much. And Simon, let's have a brief intro from yourself. Oh, the unicorn's back on the wall.
Of course. The unicorn is a good luck charm, as you know. Yeah, Simon Marshall from TBD Marketing. I founded this about 3 years ago. It is a marketing agency. It purely works for law firms and the legal sector. I work mainly for smaller firms who want a virtual CMO, and I love working for founders. So if you've started up a law firm and you want some help moving from 3 or 4 lawyers up to 10 or 20, then I'll help you. And then I also have a lot of fun working with firms on their digital marketing kind of plans, and I report against what the top 200 firms do on that under the increasingly stupidly named Digital 100. So, yeah.
That sounds well organised. And last but by no means least, very warm welcome to Cat Collier of Flair Insight. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you for inviting me on. I run Flair Insight. We're a marketing research agency, mainly working with law firms, but some accountancy firms as well. I set that up in 2017, but before that, I used to work in-house at BLP. So I'm the owner of the little red bus that I think you were talking about in merch a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
David, I think you valued that at a couple of grand. So
I'm at least.
So yeah, I was working at BLP, and that was a mixture of strategic insight and also people managing their web and CRM database function. Before that, I worked at Pinsent Masons, Baker Tilly as it was then, and Cameron McKenna as well. So either setting up the function or as part of a wider team. So
that's fabulous. Well, welcome to the show and tell this week. What we have planned today, well, of course, we have you. As I say, we got Rich joining us a little bit, and then shortly we're going to be talking a little bit about the video marketing side as well. So that's going to be interesting. You might actually want to go back. I don't know what Charlotte has in mind for this week, but if you missed a few weeks ago, she's already given probably one of the best YouTube videos of any law firm I've seen in some time. But you can go back and see the recordings and see more about that there. So do we want to start talking about the video now? Do we want to talk a little bit more about
I was hoping to interview Cat first, isn't that what we
do?
Well,
let's hear a bit more about Cat first, and then we'll do the videos, and we'll see what happens when Rich finally joins us as well.
Sounds good. Cat, tell us, so what is it that people should be using you for? What kinds of things do they come to you for at Flair Insight?
So the kind of day-to-day work we do is to help them prep for either pitches, so getting that background information on a company, who their competitors are, what that company strategy is, and who the decision makers are in that company as well. And that's increasingly becoming a bigger part of what we do. So there's just more and more information on people that you may be meeting, and you can get more background info on how you can sell into them. And we also provide sector research as well. So that has become a massive thing in the last year, because if you're a law firm marketing to 10 sectors, those 10 sectors and the opportunities within them post-COVID have kind of gone upside down. So we're trying to help firms to work out what their strategy is to sell into those. And that might be from a business planning perspective, or it could be we can help them identify the potential campaign ideas as well. So it's from a business planning, but also a marketing side as well. And then we also help law firms work out what's happening with their competition. So that's either from a company perspective. So if they've got clients and they want to find out who else is selling into them, we can help them with that. But we can also help them on a kind of weekly or monthly basis see what their competitors are up to and what innovations there are and the new campaign ideas that are coming out. So something that I picked up on recently is law firms using LinkedIn Live. So they must have been copying you three. So
Well,
they announced yesterday they're going to start putting videos into the header for the banner on LinkedIn as well. So you'll get there'll be a dream 3 seconds for most people because it'll be me silent in the video for 3 seconds, but if you click on it, the sound comes in, unfortunately. So do firms tend to what's the instruction time like? I'm a lawyer, I've got to use Cat, I've seen on this video, what's the lead time for you to be able to help me if I'm going to go and do a meeting with a client? Is it days, is it weeks, how quickly do I need to come to you in advance of time?
The more time the better, but it can be a couple of days that we can turn information around. If you want us to go really in depth on a client, that takes us typically kind of 5 to 6 hours to go really in depth and put a SWOT analysis together on a company, and that's something that we've been doing more and more. So firms may have had, for example, news alerts that come through on a company, but actually they've been restating their financial results, their strategy's completely changed over the last 6 months, and they're really looking to us to put a few pages together that shows them what's actually going on with that company's agenda. But yeah, we can typically do things within a week. If it's more of a suite of sector reports, for example, that we need longer lead time, but that tends to be around this time of year or kind of January, February time when people start thinking about their marketing plans and panicking. So.
And do you tend to work to kind of templates that you've got a Flair insight, or is it something that you've got to tailor for every firm's kind of output, as it were? If you're producing a client report or something similar.
Sorry, I think it broke up a bit. Can you say it again?
Yeah, if you're doing a client report for someone, do you have to do it in the kind of law firm's template, or is it done in you got a standard form that you report in? Oh, I don't know what's going on here.
We have a little bit of a broadband issue, and now Simon's disappeared as well. Oh dear. Oh no, Simon's back.
I think mine seems to be working okay, but I don't know what's going on. Kat, I was asking whether or not is it something you have to do? Is it something that you have to do? Yeah, I'm not going to ask that question. I'm bored of that now. The sector planning. Do people come to you and help and ask you to help them build up their sector plans as well, as it like for the whole of the firm? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think it might be Cat.
Is it just me and you, David?
I can hear you. I've got everything's green on this side. Let me just have a look. No, everything should be fine. Let's just say something again, Simon.
Hello, I'm Simon. No, is it not working?
It is. I think Cat keeps up and Cat's gone. Simon, you've got to stop talking to guests like this because they just up and leave. It's absolutely terrible.
Flipping out.
I think it might be. Here we go. She's coming back online.
Oh look, it's not me.
Right. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
It's going well.
Right. Is
should be good now.
Right. Can everyone hear everything? Cass, can you hear us?
Oh no.
I think we're struggling with the connection.
What we do, David? Why don't we move on to the video section, and then if Kat's reception gets a bit better and we can talk to her properly,
Yeah,
we can interfere a bit more a bit later on. I just think that it's not fair to keep.
it might be a little bit of buffering, and I'll see what I can do if there's anything I can do this side in the meantime. So yes, the topic we were going to have a look at this week was around video marketing. I mean, this is something that has been very interesting, especially within the legal sector. I think it was around 2010. We had 2010, 2012. Google said something along the lines of, if you have video on your homepage, your ranking will improve. And that was enough for most people to rush out, grab a camera and post something and hurriedly put it onto a website, which was often generally pretty bad. So it never really had any impact anyway. But that was kind of how the bulk of video really started. It's been interesting over the years seeing how some law firms have dealt with video marketing. I've seen some of the terrible, rather unanimated, with the big window of light behind, where the picture's terrible quality, the sound's terrible quality, through to the likes, I think it was Norton Rose with their offices in London, in East London, who had a full-blown video broadcast studio set up in their fabulous office. I think it actually overlooked the 10-story atrium there. I'm not sure, but the quality and the style of video has changed a lot over time. So that's been quite interesting. And then of course there's the promotional side of video as well, and how that's come along. So Simon, you said you had an interesting video to share. So is this sort of is it a law firm promo video? Is it?
I've sent you a couple. I've sent them through to you already.
You have
located in your LinkedIn feed as well to make sure that you're ready to play them, so that we look immensely professional. And he did make me think there, just while you're getting that, and I'll save you. But it did make me think of the Norton Rose the trainee video from a few years ago. Do you remember that one from the Africa market, that they'd done a trainee or a graduate kind of video, and it's all about this trainee he's dreaming at law school. And have you seen this video? Do you know what I'm talking about? Anyway,
it rings a bell.
Oh man, it's how can I put it nicely? It's a rotten tomato of a law firm video. If you want an example about how to get the right tone, it's just, yeah, it was well off the pace. I think they were pretty embarrassed about it at the time, but it's yeah, you can still find it. I've just found it a minute ago on Roll on Friday, so you can still find these videos as well. Right, have you got these?
I've got a couple of them set up here.
Can we have the Burkitt's one first? Is that possible?
Yes, bear with me one moment.
Stand by.
Can I talk at you or actually ask a question whilst you're pulling that up?
Go
I
for
will
it.
do this up now. I wanted to ask, when you said that Google picks it up, that it's on your homepage, etc. I'm personally really curious about the optimization of that, because obviously it's all, well and nicely said that, yeah, you should dash a video there, but if it's not properly optimized, then it just would drag your site speed right down, and then you're actually causing more damage than good. I don't know, is there anything more to it than optimize it properly, or have you had any experiences regarding videos embedded? Like, is it better embedded? Should you drag it from YouTube? Should it be organic? Just to spin in some SEO stuff.
I mean, first of all, it should be there for a reason other than, oh, quick, we might get a quick boost on Google. I think the other thing is as well, YouTube is okay. It will host the videos away from your website. It won't have a particularly much of an impact on speed of the website. However, I will say that if you're going to use a YouTube video on your website, make sure that you set it up correctly. I think Simon knows where this is going.
Exactly.
So I've had a few clients over the years, and going through their websites, seeing the video, and you go in as a user would, and you play the video. And of course, when it gets to the end, YouTube has a habit of offering recommendations. And on more than one occasion, those recommendations were not particularly suitable for a law firm or possibly anyone in business to the general public, in especially one case. And you get this I think it's like a 6 thumbnails pop up, or it's sometimes, I think back then there was one that it just auto played into a next video, and it was just so inappropriate. It was ridiculous, but they hadn't noticed it, they hadn't seen it. So one little tip I always used to say was set up a playlist, whether it's the one video or a group of videos, and run it like that. And then of course there are hosting such as Vimeo or Wistia, which are also really good. Wistia is one that I used to use a lot of. You can do some really nice stuff with that. You can do some gatekeeping stuff. Also get a lot of analytics off the back end. More and more video is in some ways self-optimizing that little area of SEO. But yeah, when it comes to page speed, unless you're whacking a great big video on your website, it's generally not too bad. Just be wary on how it's all set up. I think firms are definitely getting better these days with it anyway.
I mean, you've got, as of 1st of May, you've got 2.11 seconds. And if you're like lifting into the site, as David says, from Vimeo or something, it's not going to affect the load time. And the other thing as well is it self-optimizes. David doesn't, in terms of the size of it. So if you're looking at the mobile screen versus desktop, and the resolution of the screen, Vimeo spots what you're doing. It'll serve the right content immediately, so you don't even have to think about like putting the right videos and stuff for it. I do think that there's a whole load of SEO bump as well, David, from Google itself though, and people don't. I mean, when we report on the Digital 100, there's not enough optimization done video side on Google by people. So the thing I say to Charlotte's question is, I would host it on. I would put it on Google, even if you have it on Vimeo. I would put it on Google. Vimeo, my preferred format for kind of hosting it for a website for lots of different reasons, and so that's where I put that. I think it makes it a lot easier to not have those follow-on videos, etc. as well. But then anything that you're doing with it on LinkedIn needs to be native, because otherwise it won't get as many views. If you do it from a YouTube link, somebody told me they'd solved it the other day, but I'm not sure that's the not well exactly from Malcolm. That's such a fair point. You will show competitor stuff if you're not careful as well. But you, if you do it on LinkedIn, then just do it natively. Just upload the video. The good thing about that is it has to be under 10 minutes in length. Now, the one you're going to show here, David, then from Denise, is actually only 2 minutes 29 seconds. And Matt and the team at Burkitt's have done a really good job with trying to push on with video the last wee while. And look, can we listen to a few seconds of it, and I can talk through about what it is I like about it.
My name's Denise Finley. I wanted to make this short video to highlight some practical steps that you can think about taking if you're getting divorced. Getting divorced can be a hugely worrying and stressful time, and it's difficult to know what to do first. A useful starting point will be to put together a list of all outgoings. We can then cross-reference this with income to work out who can afford to pay for what. Have a look to see whether there's anything you can do to boost your income. Now that you're separated, it might be that one of you is eligible for universal credit, and this can be the case even if you're living under the same roof. It's always really useful at the outset to put together.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost carry on, David, like playing in the background with the volume down, right? Which is going to prove point number one, which is that Burkitt's have set it up perfectly so that you can watch the video if you're on LinkedIn. 90% of videos on Facebook and LinkedIn are watched with the sound off. Right?
This is, I think, one of the big things when you're putting video together. Make sure that you have those subtitles in place. In whether, and to be honest, whether you're in an office or even working from home or somewhere. I know myself. I so often rely on subtitles, especially when it's the business side of videos and looking through them, and it makes such a difference.
It does. The other things they've done really well here are, one, it's really short, so 2.5 minutes. Someone who wants to look at divorce stuff on their phone doesn't want their partner looking over their shoulder while they're doing so, one would assume, right? So keep it short, keep it simple, make it practical. Watch this video and you'll see how quickly she's condensed those messages down. 2, they've used cutaways of other videos. They've taken some stock, right, and embedded it through the video. So She, blinks strangely or like looks away strangely, does something a bit like I do all the way throughout this hour. But if she does that on the video, right, and it's not live, then we can just cut to those other shots. It's relatively cheap to do that in stock nowadays, and it looks good and it looks human. And I think they've done a really good job as well. But I love how, if you think about this content, this could have been written as it's 2.5 minutes. Let's say speaking speed of 200 words a minute, which is roughly is. So about 500 word article she would have written for this piece. We would have had no sense of who she was as an individual. None. Right? We'd have had a pretty standard form. This is what to think about when you think about divorce kind of copies. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that this talks to a different audience. Denise has really got something right about, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. These are the kind of things that you can, expect me to see. They've got one of their own videos following up there.
Yeah.
Immediately, right? Rights of way, as it were. So they've got everything right, Burkett's, on this. And I really like it. I think it's accessible, shareable. It's only brand new. I mean, you can see that.
Yeah.
It's only literally 2 days ago, I think it got loaded. And then I think it was up on socials maybe today or yesterday. So it is new, but I just wanted to show that you can do something. Not expensive. This has just been done at home, I think. Probably on Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say the production of this. I mean, and it's so often it's the basics. You get some good lighting, and first of all, that's often where people go wrong. I mean, I've got this great big outside window behind me, which isn't ideal, but I have lights in front and all the rest. It makes a big difference. Good sound as well from what I could hear. I've got my earpieces in, but the editing as well. I mean, it looks good. It's nothing overly showy. It doesn't that it's not drawing away from the message with a wow, look at that transition or fade or whatever. It's very well done.
The opposite, they've done it in. If you think what they've really thought about here, what Matt or Sam or whoever's done it has thought about is what does that target audience need to see? And they need to see a human being who's willing to sound like the kind of person who's going to listen to them. So pizzazz, or this idea that we have a standard format to all of our videos, and they've got to have bookended brand and a sting on the ends of it, and loads of really clever corporate music. Why have we got to do that? What if we actually just done what they've done, optimized? Look at that, optimized it. If they put they have.
So it looks like this is the transcription.
Okay,
yeah.
And do you know what? That helps the flipping thing rank as well. I mean, it's such a good idea to do it that way.
Yeah, that's why after this show, I want you all to write down everything that you've said during the hour and email it to me so I can add it to YouTube afterwards.
About that. If you're on a Zoom call and you're doing something like this as well, and you don't already do so, please can you try Otter? Okay,
oh,
Otter AI will directly, it plugs into Zoom. After you're done with the call, about half an hour later, it will just send you your conversation is ready and it's been transcribed. Yeah, you're going to have to do a bit of work, especially with someone like me who mumbles, right, to get some of the words out straight. It does allow for accents, but then you can take that file and turn it into a subtitles file and overwrite the Google version as well very quickly. So there's some really cool things you can do, relatively simple. A big shout out as well for the guys at Lately at the moment who are doing that. Alex Lowe showed it to me. You'd load a video like this, put it into their system. It basically does all of that and chunks the video into social media snippets and automatically drags the text out for you into a series of social posts. So it would take one video like this and it will turn it into 20, 30 different posts.
I used to spend hours doing that.
Yeah, I bet. And then Alex, if you look at his feed, he now does something rich and once, and then it gives him a gift of keeping going. Anyway, look, listen, big shout out to Burkett's. I don't know if anybody else has got any comments on what they've done, but I thought it was a nice, accessible video.
No, that was good.
Yeah, no, it's I was just going to say how I think they picked the perfect person. Like she just has that personality. She has the voice. She has and that's the thing. I mean, naturally, some firms or some companies will be limited in terms of who they can put in front of the camera. But look, first of all, shout out to her for sitting down in front of the camera, because I think it's all nice and well said that video is the next big thing and we should all do it, but it's flipping scary.
Yeah,
some people don't like it, and I think that like the fact that law firms are pulling this off and finding people in the firm who are willing to sit in front of a camera is brilliant, because it's not necessarily their job. It's not always the marketing team who are exhibitionists and, you know, like to show themselves like we do. So yeah, no, I really like this video.
It's always interesting when you're working with the law firms, finding those individuals that are willing to put themselves out there, and whether it's the podcast, the blog, the video, and as you say, there are some that may come forward that aren't totally suitable, and then there are others that you'd absolutely love who just are not going to do it for a moment.
Let's talk about that for a minute. It's a really serious point on this as well, right? On that, I learned as a digital marketing guy and over these years as well, it is not for us marketeers to decide that necessarily. I know that we think, oh yeah, well, so-and-so is like a bit, you know, boring, or they drone on a bit, or this and that. There's some guys who work in the nuclear industry that think that guy is the safest and best option for them, and they think that is the guy I want, right? Those, let the buyers decide, let the stats talk, and let that do it. If people want to do video, my view is it will not be detrimental to the brand at the moment. So as long as they're not, you know, swearing or saying anything silly. I know people can be a bit turgid, right? But apart from that, I would encourage anyone who steps forward, I'd let them have a go. I would give them some pointers. I did have one a while ago. I'm not going to name the individual involved, but you're in change and you know exactly who you are. He's just uncoached on video, just wouldn't do what, you know, we're asking to do. But, you know, most other people get it and are willing to do what they need to do as well. I don't like being on video. My rule is quite simple though, David. Record it once, don't ever watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, the example that I was thinking of specifically was actually somebody who was so incredibly sweary, I would have been beeping out probably about 60% of the content, and I just didn't have the time to do it more than anything else. So that was just too much editing even for me. Shall we have a look at you've also got the carpool case law.
Let's do it.
Season 1.
Can I just,
wow.
Just before we get going, right? It's a quick shout out to Maria Shahid. Most people would know Maria anyway. She's brilliant and does loads of good stuff in property and journalism and ghostwriting and things like that as well. So if you don't know her, then please go and follow her on LinkedIn, because she's a really good resource for the industry as well. She pointed me to this video and she said, whatever week you do videos in, this is the one that you're going to win with. I didn't realize that Charlotte was going to come with her Cheech and Chong video, but to be fair, right, it is the nearest equivalent, but that's actually talking about the law instead. So this is by Wilberforce Chambers, Jonathan Seitler, and his daughter Miriam Seitler, and she's a barrister at Landmark Chambers. So they've taken this idea of carpool karaoke, and instead they talk about a recent case, and they're not even at the same organization. How wonderful is that? Like, so let's go listening just for a couple of minutes, or for a minute or so, would be great.
So I saw your case.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Have I got to stop listening to?
No, what is it?
Sit it.
It's an open goal, and two defenders simply sliding in. What the flight idea was, and a most uncharacteristic error by Edison.
Sorry. Yes.
So did you expect that?
Well, there's two issues. The first one is whether a right to a MSV, a multi-skilled visit, is a code right. And the answer is yes.
Obviously.
Well, not so obviously, because there's no mention of a right to survey or a right to inspect.
But what is a multi-skilled visit?
It's where a surveyor goes and a man.
You can cut it, David, in terms of the actual content itself, right? And but I do think that people should check in on this channel, right? Okay, they have a lot of fun in what they're doing. It's different, and there's something really sweet about father and daughter, both barristers doing it together as well. Yeah, there's a little bit of mansplaining at the beginning, and I'm not sure that we need that too much, but you know, equally, it's just such a novel and lovely way to do something a bit different. And all pattern. It's actually featured on Legal Cheek a while ago, this video as well. But yeah, I wanted to flag it as just something, just for firms who think they can't do things differently. What are the production values and the cost of this? I mean, he's listened to the football on the radio when he first started in. So, you know, it's about as accessible and human as it gets.
No, I think that's it's really nice, and I always like those very personal sort of setups, you know, and you never quite know where it's going to go. But I think, as you say, the fact that they're not two people within the same business, it gives it a much more realistic feeling to it. And you know, they've got how many views has this got? Over 4,000 views since 2019. That's pretty impressive. I'll tell you what, just before we carry on any further, drum roll, please.
He's here.
Rich Dibbins is in the building. Thank you. Hello,
you.
Rich.
How you doing all? My apologies, late to the party, but yes, how is everybody?
We are all well. We're doing well.
That's now that you're here.
Oh, look, our viewing figures have gone up.
Too kind, David.
Rich, just so you know, we have Cat Collier joining us today as our special guest. We had some technical difficulties early with some sound quality, so we've actually dived into having a look at some of the video marketing examples that we have here. So we've
just back. Is it working again in the north of England, or is it still not working?
I have 5 bars on my internet, so I don't know what's going on, but it's fine
crystal
with
clear
me.
now.
You're getting yourself a mobile network, Cat. That's an absolute outrage. Are we not worthy of your Wi-Fi?
I'm stood on a mountain trying to get some sort of internet. So,
we're going to come around to interviewing her in a few minutes' time. So
okay, cool.
But no, I really like that one. Where did you find that one? What do you know about it?
That was Maria Shahid who put it forward to me and had named it. And I think that in a way that tells you something, doesn't it? It's kind of Rich, you just missed it, but it's carpool case law, and it's a barrister father and daughter duo, and they talk about a recent case thing. It's a brilliant idea, right? It's simple, it's cheap, it's really informative, it's not very long. I mean, it's literally listening to the football scores as they start the show, right? It's such a Rich, you're going to really like it, I think. But I think that the fact that Maria remembered it front of mind, right? That recall is huge. Like even all that time later, this is in 2019 it's released, and that recall, when I asked her about it the other day, is like there more than 12 months later. Isn't that the kind of marketing that we're trying to produce? That people go, oh yeah, you've got to go and look at this example. That's what I love about it.
That's really nice. I like that one.
And I was also say that I really like the fact that it's a father and daughter duo. Like there is something so relatable about that, isn't it? Yeah. It's just like, and you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just like a complete false impression that I have, but it's kind of a thing, you know, like that law or being a lawyer is one of those professions that is quite commonly running on in the family, or maybe I just have a lot of friends who are in similar shoes, but you know, like there is a story behind, like I quite like that untold story, which is quite obvious from what we see. So yeah, I would like that.
Okay, well, let's have a look. Actually, Charlotte, while you're front and center, shall we have a look at one of you put forward a couple of videos here. I've got a Shoesmiths one. Shall we shall I gear that one up?
Is that one mine?
That one from me.
Oh no, was that one from you?
That's from
okay,
Kat.
bear with me. Okay. Oh, you sent. Oh, here we go. I've got the Legal Collective that you sent through.
Yeah, and there's a YouTube one. Maybe actually the YouTube one would be better to start with.
Okay, let me just have a quick look here.
If that's possible. In the run-up, as we're opening that, the reason I'm very keen to start with that, because James is someone who I regularly talk about. I had the pleasure of meeting him when I was spending time in Sydney. And he is my lawyer superhero, if one can call someone with that high regard. He is amazing. He is present on every single social media platform. And he started this series just out of the blue called Coffee and the Case Note, because he said, well, I'm working on case notes all the time anyway, so I might as well just record it. And he has a little tripod and a little clip-on mic, lapel mic, that he uses. And I happen to know that at the time of recording, that was his office where he was working. And I have also worked from that building a couple of times. And in the morning, when you're walking in with your coffee, you would see James standing in the corner with his little tripod on and talking whilst people walk around in the background. And
Brilliant.
if you go YouTube channel or anything, you will see that he does this in coffee shops. He does this like back from home when we were in lockdown. He does it from anywhere and everywhere. He actually makes it kind of almost look like a coffee shop tour, if you like. But maybe if you play the start, and I really hope that this has an intro as well.
Let's see.
Hi there, I'm James Apathy, and this is Coffee and a Case Note. Team, today what we're going to talk about is an alleged shareholder who is seeking an immediate interlocutory injunction. What's going on here? We've got a company, right? And there is a party that says, hey, I am the sole owner of one share and I'm the joint owner of another share. And as a result of that, I should have been paid about $700,000 in dividends. And so this alleged shareholder, if we put it that way, commences corporate oppression proceedings. And what that alleged shareholder wants is very broadly.
I highly recommend his videos, because what he does is explains a genuine legal case, a legal happening, in such an understandable way that like even I enjoy it, and I know nothing about law. He's brilliant. He has heaps of followings, and actually his TikTok videos are also very worthy of looking at, because he just has that character of he's great. And I think what I was trying to bring out from this example is the fact that you don't need expensive equipment, preparation whatsoever, because he's still, and he didn't go out of his comfort zone. He didn't start talking about, I am a thought leader and this is how innovative I am. He talks about his day-to-day job and explains it to people, so they come to him. And he's actually very clear about, I will be in business for X number more years, and I would really like to win some clients. And you know what? I appreciate that, because that's why we all do it. And I don't think there's anything dirty about, everyone wanting to do well in what they do if they help people. So very, very highly recommend that. And if you don't yet follow James, then go and give him a like on LinkedIn or any social media platform, because he's a superstar.
I like that. Again, it's another personal touch. And I think, as you say there, it doesn't take much to get started. I think some people can try a little bit too hard and it comes across quite forced. He seems so natural standing there. I love the little intro. I really like that. That's good.
He just needs an Iron Man poster in the background. So you think, or maybe maybe a unicorn. It's missing, right?
If only we could all have unicorns and Iron Men posters.
That video kind of reminded me of how they do the news in America. They're all stood there kind of as everything's going on behind them. Yeah. And clearly there was a guy who wanted to be on camera. Then he walked across with his phone and he walked back again. He clearly did not need to do that, but knew he'd be on camera. So, but yeah, I think no style videos. Yeah, just rocking up and start recording. Not one person kind of looked at him as he was recording either, which was interesting.
It's clearly not it's just like a normal thing to do. I mean, on a lot of these videos, the one thing I'd say is that, and David always tells me, lighting is one thing, but I think sound could be improved a little bit as well. If you were to invest in anything, first and foremost, in that situation, I think you can set up for light, but you should probably have a decent mic on you as well. And if there's any way of improving what you've got there, that's worth doing.
for something like that, even a £20 wired lapel mic, or Rode do a really nice wireless one. There's stuff out there that can make a difference. And I think we generally say sound is about 50% of the quality of what's going forward. To be honest, you can get away with more visually, but if the sound quality is struggling, that's it really throws people off. So we have another one from you, Charlotte. Have I got the Legal Collective, the one that you sent through?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a too long one.
Let me just get this. One of these days, I'm going to make this so slick finding these.
We should video
or actually, maybe you guys can send them sooner than 5 minutes before the show starts. But anyway, or during the show. Hold on, I think we got something here. Here we go. Right. I mean, awesome. talk about something with some energy and some drive.
I was foot tapping all the way through that.
And you know what? That's what I loved about it. I just stumbled across it. It's a catchy song. There's nothing corporate. There is nothing, like unique about it. It's like you got it out of a bloody comic. And it's simple. It is the most obviously stock videos as it gets. Maybe iMovie Maker. None of your, fancy editing software. And you know what? For me, it works.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. And that's all it takes to get a video out there.
It's interesting you mentioned the stock video footage there, because I recognize a few of those little clips from stock photography, but it was only about halfway through the video when I realized, hang on, I'm looking at this for a purpose. Let me concentrate a bit more. The speed of the edit, the visuals used, the upbeat music, it drives you through, and it really is driving you through to watch the whole thing. I mean, it's only a minute long, but it was a very watchable video. For me, it was the music. The music was I was concentrating listening to the music than anything else. I can remember a couple of the words on there, change and modern, but for me it was the music. I just kind of was like I'd remember that video purely for the music purpose. Yeah, which is obviously a key point as well.
I'd be interested to know, because I think it does appeal to us as marketeers. But I'd be keen to know whether it appealed to their target audience as well. I'm not saying it doesn't at all. I just don't know. But you can imagine there's a certain type of person who's going to instruct a law firm that would well look at that and think, fair enough. Like if you're a startup, you don't have a lawyer, and you think, why don't we give these guys a try? Fine. But is it going to appeal to GCs in the same way? I don't know. And that is where that balance needs to be struck. They might have nailed their target audience entirely. That's the only thought I want to say. I do like it. There's quite a lot going on in terms of the chop and change, a lot of color schemes and things like that as well. So, but it's I think just having a quick flick through it there. This is specific. This looks like it's specific for the channel. It's a minute long. It looks like it's there specifically to grab people as they scroll. And I think with the music, the fast cut visuals, it's the sort of thing that just makes you stop for that briefest of moments, even if you didn't expect it. And you will stop, you will look at the name, you may watch the whole thing, but it's specifically put together to really make you try and slow people down and find out a little bit more about them. That's a good observation. Yeah.
Guess who's here?
I was going to say, maybe for a second, if you can, because I think I was talking over the video. If you can go back to the very start of the video, and maybe just play like I think it was like that's what I wanted.
I just want to see Rich start dancing any moment now. He's going to start.
I want to get my cane and my top hat and start doing jazz hands and everything.
I love it. But you know, what I wanted to add to that start piece is that's your storytelling. Like that's where it all starts. And you know, like when you say 2018 in 2021, like that's a story. You know, like you're already there, an English lawyer in Singapore about to start this. Like it's exciting. You want to know what's the story. What is this English lawyer doing? And I like that.
What I also noticed was the type font changed. So in the beginning, very traditional, very classic, Times New Roman style, and then it goes into, you know, a very modern, you know, almost Apple-esque wording kind of type font afterwards. So that's clearly, you know, it's not a type font error. That's clearly meant to, we've gone from this classic to this modern approach, which is quite nice. But yeah, somebody's thrown up in Canva, haven't they? And got the premium version and gone crazy with it, bless them. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a great video.
I tell you what, though, it's somebody who knows what they're doing, because I think that is very well put together. It would definitely make me stop. Sort of thing I'd want to watch over again. Grab the details.
Can't wait for you to show mine, David.
Bear with me while
Is Cat next?
Yeah, we're going to go on to Cat next, and then it's Rich. Bear with me one moment.
Simon and I are in competition, so we'll see you.
I reckon Simon is going to hate mine. I'm just predicting that now. It's about 10 years old, but it's French as well. Not that you hate French, Simon, but I just reckon you're not going to like it.
Très bien. On y va.
Okay, here we go. Yep, this is the one, Shoesmiths. Right, let me just...
So this is Shoesmiths. They've packaged their innovations into the Power of 8, they're calling it, and they've just done this over the last couple of weeks. And they start off, you can show the video, they start off with cups of coffee and graphs, and then it moves on to something that I've never seen a UK law firm do. So I'll let the video take over.
Lives a powerful entity designed to thrive in a complex world. With 8 arms, each independently strong and yet working in perfect coordination. This is not a machine. It has evolved around you. This is the Power of 8.
Love it.
Kids love it, so
it's got a thumbs up from us, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love the subtle image of the octopus on the left hand side, in that look like it's almost like they're in an aquarium style. But that's really good,
isn't it? And it's just, you can hear the tentacle to start with, and you think, "Oh my God, what's happening? Am I going to die?" And then actually, an octopus appears. So it just really arrests you. I think it's a
it's almost like a David Attenborough style, with the close up of the octopus. Kind of thing.
Imagine,
a lot of thought has gone into that.
Imagine what the CMOs had to do to get that through. Right, and whoever, I don't even know who it is, but kudos to whoever has got that through, because that is dairy milk and the flipping drumming. Well, for the legal world, it is. It's that extraordinarily different. I've never been so shocked at a law firm video. Kat, you've absolutely blown us out of the water there. Whatever rubbish Rich shows us next. This is
it's not rubbish.
But again, I think that's another one that really grabs attention.
Yeah, amazing.
And again, amazed with the production value of something like that.
Yeah, no, that they've spent money on
How
that.
much it cost?
They've spent a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
I'm
But
glad
what I
they
was
haven't
going
tried to
to-
superimpose Shoesmith's logo on the octopus or do anything cheesy like that.
Oh,
They're going to do
That would have ruined it. That would have ruined it.
toy, aren't they? I know they are. Oh no.
But I was going to say, what I also like about it, I think we spoke about this when we talked about brochures, and we were looking at the interactive one with the chairs on it. This does the same for me in terms of what I call the mind puzzle. You know, it's just like it's out of place. Like you can't not look because it doesn't make sense, and people feel compelled to look and figure out what the hell this is because it doesn't make sense.
I don't
Well,
think
other
there's
firms-
ever been a case when the five of us would have been silent previously at the same time. So
I think that was again. Yeah, I think Charlotte absolutely right. It's something that throws you out of the expected to the unexpected, and I think definitely when it comes to law firms, you don't expect a floating octopus in the office. So we have Rich's video here. Let me just get this queued up.
I just want you to look at the views. 358,000 views this video has had.
It's 11
years old. You know, it's dated, but you wait and see.
Oh, there we go.
Lawyer
Let's,
rap. It's a rap. It's MC Solar.
Allô? Oui, ne quittez pas.
Ouais. J'ai pas le look d'un trader, encore moins d'un dealer. Moi, ma priorité, c'est ta sécurité. Je vis pas dans un palace avec une super blonde. J'ai peut-être pas la tchatch des mecs en robe longue, mais mes conseils sont
It's
fiables.
all in French.
Incontestable. Je suis notaire, un métier d'enfer. Je suis notaire.
Il est notaire.
Je m'occupe de tes affaires. Pour que t'aies pas, non, pas de galère. Tu supportes plus ton petit job à la con. T'en as plus qu'assez de bosser pour pas un rond. Tu rêves de monter ta propre société. Mais les formalités, c'est pas ta tasse de thé. T'as trimé des années pour te faire un peu de blé. T'aimerais bien en faire don à tes futurs rejetons. Appelle-moi pour les droits de succession. Je sais y faire. Je suis notaire. Je suis notaire. Un métier d'enfer. Je suis notaire.
Yeah, you can pause it.
He's
the rapping notary public.
But he's rapping in the style of MC Solar, so like a really famous French rapper. So it's quite clever. And he's also speaking to you in the to form of the word, which is really clever because there's an accessibility that you wouldn't expect from a lawyer because he'd normally be vouvoying you instead. So it's very, very clever in terms of what he's doing. He's saying, you can trust me with your business affairs. You can trust me with, I mean, you get this isn't a guy who is going to speak to you in some dusty office like that. So it's very clever. Yeah, I like
11 years old. So you can imagine what law firm videos people were doing 11 years ago.
Wow.
Or even if they were doing video at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I talk about video to law firms, I say, well, there's various options, but let me show you something. And the looks that I get from people, yeah, we'll never do that.
That's it. Do you know much about the background of it? Sorry about this.
It is a legitimate law firm advertising Notary Public legal services, but they've made multiple videos of their legal services. So yeah, no, it's a genuine law firm in France.
Again, the production of something like this, absolutely fabulous. I love that. Sorry, you have to excuse me. I'm having an issue with bubbles being blown.
No, that is as it should be. It's Friday. It's effectively Friday evening. So I think it's a brilliant one. I really like it. Are we going to put these links into the comments after we've shared the live video later today?
Yeah.
I think they should for people. Really good. I just did a quick squeeze through the Digital 100, and I wanted to just do a quick shout out to one other as well, and a former place of work of Kat as well. Pinson's actually won most watched video on LinkedIn for last year in our roundup of all the LinkedIn stuff. Rich, you and I can pick it up another time on LinkedIn for lawyers, I'm sure, but they got 28,808 views on a LinkedIn video that was only released in December, and it was the December Christmas card, but they've done it so well, the thing as well. And I just think that the numbers on the boards are huge when you get video right.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I found all of these so very watchable. I think they're absolutely fabulous.
Can I actually ask a question, and maybe this brings us back, if no one minds, to Kat for a second, because as you started talking at the start, one of the things I wanted to ask, as you also make recommendations to firms about specific campaign ideas, do you also include tactics? So, for example, would a video be a part of a recommendation that you would make?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If we're looking, so we've looked at firms when COVID happened. I think law firms and everybody was in a bit of a tiz for about 6 weeks, and then actually realised, oh, we need to change our marketing tactics. And we provided recommendations for firms, for example, that were just talking about themselves operationally, but they weren't talking about how they were caring for clients or how they were caring for their own employees. And we made the point that podcasts possibly weren't needed anymore because people tend to listen to those on the tube or wherever they are, and actually the more of a face and having those videos in place is what is needed and what has become kind of mainstay now. So I think that's there to stay. But yeah, we can provide some ideas on channels as well, but it's more we provide those ideas, and we don't have the kind of digital capabilities, so it'd be up to you guys to bring that on.
I think that's interesting. You mentioned about the podcast there, because podcast audiobooks, that's for me, that's something when I'm commuting, walking, running, driving, and since all this has happened, I just so rarely listen to those podcasts, but the videos, I'm just a better place now to be watching those videos. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I think, sorry, people have more time for it as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily look at a video before, and it's having that interaction and seeing people's faces that I'm missing at the moment. So I'm more drawn to that video content. So
Charlotte and I were talking earlier this week about the kind of elements of humanity that you can put into your kind of pitch materials and the approaches you can take as well, and using different people's kind of preferences as it were. And we were talking about how you can really either talk to people's egos or their commitment or whatever it might be. So, and I think the video is a great way of doing that, even with really important pitches. There's no harm in somebody who can't make the pitch day because they're at home that day, be able to record a video and have it played in the room as well. And just say, look, we haven't got Charlotte with us today, but we have captured a few words from her. And I think that's, that needs its place in the world now as well. We don't have to pretend, they're not able to make it anymore, therefore they don't get a voice in the room. I think that's probably the wrong approach. I want to see more videos being used. I really do think that 2021 should be the year of UGC for law firms. Like, let's stop having so many these formal corporate ones that have been done. They're great, the ones we looked at today, but having the huge generated stuff that's like inexpensive but still nice enough, done, but actually is totally accessible to people. Is so essential, and it resonates, Kat, doesn't it, with those people who are on the client side, on the target side.
Yeah, and I think I think law firms have got over the fact that they don't need to be necessarily professional or, have to put lots of money into it. And it makes them more approachable. So, yeah, it's definitely the way to go.
Do you find when you're doing your kind of research for people as well that they tend to act on your advice when you're giving it to them? Is it something that lawyers really do they look at it and go, okay, or do they go, right, we need to do some stuff differently now? Is that how are you finding that?
I've evolved the product to become more like that. So when I first started it out in-house, it used to be way more, here's some information, this is good to know. And we've condensed it down to being a few pages, and it's prefaced with some actions. So we always try and work out what it's for. So is it for a pitch or is it for cross-selling opportunities? And we will come up with some ideas of how they can cross-sell into a client. And a lot of what we do is trying to break them out of their silos. So they're thinking more about the company itself and what it needs rather than we do real estate, so we'll just sell them some real estate. So lawyers definitely are really up for that, and for BD as well, it kind of helps them. They can copy and paste our recommendations into a CRM plan or a pitch plan, so it's trying to make it usable and actionable. So
who do you get instructed by? Is it by lawyers or is it by the BD guys, or who comes to you?
BD tends to be the gateway for it because it comes out of their budget, basically. So
What about people like Rich on the Digi side? Do you get instructed by digital marketing guys to do things for them?
No, it tends to be more on the BD, CRM side, or we sometimes get instructed by the marketing director to come in and give an objective view. So it may be how different firms position themselves in terms of their international marketing, and we would look at their websites and their external content and give our view, but it can be more the campaign message. So what is that message itself? And we might highlight different ways that they've done it with different channels, but it can be more about the intent rather than the way they've done it. So, and
the amount of octopuses they've got in their campaign now,
definitely
in their favor, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like, well, I'm just mindful of the time, David. I know you're going to wrap up in a minute, but I feel like Kat didn't really get a proper go today. Kat, would you come back again and tell us a bit more about it? And if we asked you maybe some sector-specific stuff, would you join us another time?
Yeah, definitely.
We'd love to have you along again. Maybe Rich will, come for your session that way as well. Who knows? Right?
Well, what are we talking about next time is what I was going to ask.
What have we covered over the last ones? We've now done video.
We did, didn't we do podcasts?
Calls to action.
Social media. One kind of ended up being social media.
Yeah.
I think that Kat's alighted on something there that we haven't touched upon yet, and I think we should talk about, which is the sectoral stuff. And I think we should look at sectors. And I think that given it's the main way that firms are going to market at the moment, I think we should talk about it and what it means for how they're approaching various different things.
There's things like
is that a filter? Or is there no filter today?
It's one of the gels from the lights I've got here.
There's different topics that I could suggest, like net zero and how different firms are coming, kind of working around that in terms of sectors.
That is massively popular. Would you come and talk about that, or ESG or something?
Yeah.
Well, let's do that, and then I think Rich, it'd be great on the sectors front. You can look at it from the Digi and how things sit aside along each other, and whether people are using the right channels for the different sectors and stuff like that. And that would be really good. Sure. Charlotte obviously got loads to add on the behavioural side as well for what do people do in different sectors. I think we could do a sector special, and it'd be really good.
That sounds good to me. I'm now juggling. Hold on. But yeah, no, that sounds very good for the next show. Well, we're just coming up to an hour. Kat, very sorry that we had the technical difficulties earlier, but we would love to have you back.
Oh, thank you.
And Charlotte, Rich, Simon, the usual ship of fools. Thanks for joining. And I think we've really showcased some great videos today. Some really, really good examples there. So until next week, Thursday, 5 o'clock, it seems to be the usual time, the usual bat place. We shall be here. And until then, everyone have a good week. Take care.
Bye.
Don't do any more calls.